Have you ever felt like your life is looping? That each day is just a shadow of the last? As if you're stuck in a cycle, moving, but going nowhere? You wake up, you check your phone, you rush, you produce, you sleep. Then, it all begins again. The Greeks told us the story of Sisyphus, a man condemned by the gods to roll a giant stone up a hill. Every time he nears the top, the stone slips and falls. And so, he starts over. Forever. We call it a myth. But maybe it's a diagnosis. Albert Camus, the French philosopher, saw this story as the symbol of modern existence. He wrote, "The struggle itself toward the heights is enough to fill a man's heart. One must imagine Sisyphus happy. But are we? Or have we made peace with a prison we don't even see? We live in a culture that promises constant progress. But progress toward what? Faster devices, bigger markets, more content, and yet, more anxiety, more numbness. Even our pleasures have become routines. Scrolling, clicking, buying, all programmed repetition. We're like hamsters on a wheel, busy, exhausted, but never arriving. What has been will be again. What has been done will be done again. There is nothing new under the sun." Ecclesiastes 1:9. Friedrich Nietzsche imagined a strange and terrifying idea. What if a demon were to creep after you one night and say, "This life, as you now live it, you will have to live once more, and innumerable times more"? Would you throw yourself down and gnash your teeth? Or would you answer, "Yes, this is the concept of eternal return, the idea that everything we do, we may do forever"? Would you still choose the life you're living now, if you had to live it again, exactly as it is? No edits, no escapes, no relief. That question doesn't require belief. It requires honesty. The repetition is not only in society, it's in us. We repeat our thoughts, we repeat our reactions, we repeat the same arguments with the same people, and then wonder why nothing changes. Jung called this the complex, a pattern of emotions and behaviors that traps us in ourselves, a cycle of shadow and habit, endlessly reactivating. History itself repeats. Empires rise, collapse. Moral panics erupt. Societies forget and relive. Oswald Spengler once said, "History is not progress, it is rhythm." Civilizations, like people, cycle through phases: birth, bloom, decay, and yet every generation thinks it is the first to feel disillusioned, the first to wake up, the first to suffer. But we are echoes of echoes, children of forgotten revolutions, actors on a stage where the script keeps being recycled. But here's the secret. The cycle is not the enemy, but unconsciousness is. Sisyphus wasn't condemned because he rolled a stone. He was condemned because he couldn't see why. Awareness breaks repetition. The moment you become aware of the pattern of your day, your mind, your words, your scrolling, you are no longer fully inside it. You step out, you gain space, you begin to choose. And maybe the soul needs repetition, like a mantra, like prayer, like the turning of a rosary bead. Perhaps God placed repetition in our lives not as a punishment, but as a form of alchemy, to transform the mundane into the meaningful, the habitual into the holy. The repetition becomes sacred only when seen. You can live life on autoplay, react, scroll, consume, push your stone, watch it fall, repeat. Or you can turn around, look at the stone and ask, "Why am I carrying this?" Maybe the point was never to escape the cycle, but wake up inside it, to choose it, to sanctify it, to become conscious. But what if repetition isn't just a symptom of modernity, but a primordial structure of human consciousness? The historian of religion Mircea Eliade believed that ancient cultures didn't view time as linear, like we do today. They saw it as circular, sacred, recurring, alive. According to Eliade, the myth was not fiction. It was truth lived ritually. Every new year, every harvest, every rite of passage was not new. It was a reenactment of something outside of time. Myths describe the breakthrough of the sacred into the world. By imitating mythical gestures, man returns to the time of origins. The ancient person didn't live in random, empty time. They lived in meaningful time. Time that returned to a center, to the moment of creation, to the divine act that made all things real. Modern man, Iliad says, has forgotten the sacred dimension of time. We no longer repeat myths to commune with the origin. We repeat patterns without meaning. We no longer cycle to return. We cycle because we're trapped. Our lives have become a series of mechanical repetitions, stripped of transcendence. We work, not to sanctify creation, but to maintain a system. We scroll not to seek wisdom, but to fill the silence. The man of the archaic societies tends to live as much as possible in the sacred, to be in contact with the gods. The modern man is content to live in a desacralized world, and yet, in moments of silence, in certain dreams, in forgotten symbols, we still feel it. The hunger for origin, for something outside of time, for meaning that doesn't decay. Maybe repetition is not the enemy. Maybe repetition is a map. The soul, like the ancient initiate, must descend, suffer, and return. We must relive, re-see, re-feel, because it's only through return that we recover the real. The eternal return is not the same as mindless looping. It is the act of sacralizing time, of choosing to live every moment as if it were the first and the last. It's the opposite of boredom. It's the beginning of awakening. The reason we feel trapped in time is not because time is broken, but because we are. Deep within us there's a memory of a place that was once whole, a garden, a voice, a moment before the repetition began. And though we cannot return there by walking, something in us still remembers the way. Every longing, every silence, every unanswered question is a path turning back toward a hidden origin, a light that never stops shining, even when we forgot it. Maybe the repetition isn't punishment, maybe it's mercy, a rhythm gently calling us back again and again until we're ready to follow it home. We were not made for the loop. We were made for the eternal, but we lost something, and ever since we've been circling ruins, trying to rebuild what once was given. The silence we fear is not empty. It is full of a presence we forgot how to recognize. And maybe the cycle is not a cage, but a gentle knocking. The same knock heard across generations, repeating until we open the door. A rhythm echoing through centuries, not to torment us, but to remind us. To remind us that we are not alone in the repetition, that every morning is not just another Monday. It is a new beginning, a secret invitation, a whisper from the source that never left. And when the loop becomes unbearable, it is not time that is pressing us. It is grace, calling, not to escape, but to return. Return not to the past, but to the origin, the place where all things are made new, where time is no longer repetition, but fulfillment. Some call it awakening, others call it peace, but maybe, beneath all names, it is simply home. Home is not a place you find on a map. It's a place you begin to remember, and remembering is a form of awakening. The repetition that once felt unbearable becomes bearable when it becomes intentional. A breath, a prayer, a word you whisper before the sun rises, not because it changes the world outside, but because it changes the world within. What if the deepest truths don't come like lightning, but like a gentle pattern, like the sea, always returning, always new? What if eternity doesn't break into time with noise, but with rhythm, not a line, but a pulse, not a race, but a return? And somewhere beyond the noise, beyond the algorithms, beyond the hunger to be seen, there is a voice, not loud, not urgent, just steady, repeating your name, as it was spoken in the beginning. And maybe, if we dare to be still long enough, we'll hear it again. And in that moment, all the repetitions, all the loops, all the restless wandering will be revealed for what they really were, an invitation to return to the sacred, to what does not pass away, to what has always been waiting.